So, welcome back. If you've been with us earlier on, you'll have seen quite a bit of action going on in the pre-finals here at Muscat Speedway. This is round 6 of the UAE Rotax Max Challenge, flyaway round for us here in the centre of Muscat, with a great deal of support this weekend from Oman Automobile Association. And great to have a worldwide audience with us for the finals. So what we've got is a series of races. The drivers, various drivers, have been out on the track tussling for superiority, and that is going to come to a climax in the next hour and a half to 2 hours. We have a number of categories, all split according to age and performance and senility. And right now, I'm going to have to break away from announcing the Micromax because I've just actually seen one of the most legendary figures in the whole of Rotax Max Challenge history, Mr. Lazar Injotev. Welcome, Lazar, to the grid.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure being here.
Lazar, you are one of the most important figures in the universe and certainly in the world of karting in the region, responsible a lot of the time for the technical check aspects. So what have you been finding today? Have all the teams been behaving, or have there been some questionable attempts?
So far so good. They're behaving. We'll see at the finals.
Okay, but is it true that you, when you spot something wrong with the car earlier in the day, you don't actually do anything about it and then you catch it later, so it's maximum penalty? There's a rumour flying around that you do that.
Yeah, usually I do this at the finals, and I have 2 big hammers, which I'm often using.
I have seen those hammers, which is why I've not come down to see you for a while. Go and warm them up, Mr. Lazar. Thanks for your time. So we're overlooking the grid here. Micromax drivers, these are drivers aged primarily between 8 and 11. We can see on pole position driver number 23, that's Christopher El Fagali. And by virtue of the fact that he won the pre-final ahead of Adam Al-Azhari in kart number 11 alongside him. Benjamin Wade on the inside of row 2, that's 3rd place. And a very, very impressive Thomas Frost outside him, driver number 27. You can see him on the grid. This is his home track. He's really enjoying a competitive performance today. Row 3 is made up of Adam Jones in kart number 50. Alongside him, he has Krishna Vishu. In row 4, another driver local to Muscat Speedway, Ayman Jaridi. He's got kart number 73. And on the outside of him, driver number 16. We haven't spoken to her yet, but I'm sure we'll speak to her a little bit later on. Shivali Sinha. And then on row 5, we were talking to him earlier on, Evan Clyde, driver number 5, and outside of him, Fahad Al-Rawahi. So, it looks like we're missing one driver from the lineup. Oh, here we go. His car is there, but the driver's just about to jump in. Ahmed Al-Sesi, driver number 2, so hopefully he will join proceedings. Okay, so apparently we've got some just corroboration needed to find out if the grid is correct, and then Ahmed will take his place. So there we go. Well, while they work that out, let's give you some more information. So Micromax drivers, as we said, between 8 and 11 years of age. A number of quite experienced drivers out there, despite their young years, mixed with some drivers taking part in their first weekend of national racing. And we had a chat to a driver earlier on who's sitting in his cart, getting ready, focused for the final. It was cart number 5, Evan, and he talked about being involved in a little bit of an incident with his fellow Micromax drivers, Eamon and Shivali. And he said that the drivers were fine, and he's hoping that they can race as long as their mechanics, in some cases, mums and dads, managed to fix their carts. Well, it looks like they've managed it. They're certainly on the grid. And apparently the last-minute adjustments are due to an adjustment in the decision-making process relating to the pre-final. So a little bit of last-minute shuffling, and then these drivers will be out onto the circuit. It's a 14-lap Micromax final, so a long way to go, and that equates to around about 14 kilometres. The circuit approximately, or this layout that we've chosen for today, the national circuit, approximately 1 kilometre. We can see the Junior Max drivers, some of them starting to come out and get ready, eager for some time on TV. They'll be next out on track. But first and foremost, Micromax. So we've got one of the most attractive members of the paddock, despite being a DD2 master, Mr. Tony Hogg. Who's your favourite Micromax driver, Tony? Careful.
I don't know.
You can't think of a face that you really like? Oh, you like number 99? That's Krishna. So what do you like about Krishna?
He's a good little driver.
Good little driver, okay. Well, there you go. Always great to hear the opinion of someone so respected in the paddock. We'll get some more driver feedback after the final. Hopefully Tony will be as accommodating. So we can hear that. Maybe you can hear the noise in the background coming from the pre-grid marshal and our clerk of the course, Mr. Gordon Mellis, who you will have seen a little bit earlier, is happy that we can begin. So what happens now, for those of you just joining us, there is a formation lap. This formation lap is for our pole sitter, in this case Christopher, to just lead the field around at a reasonable pace. Now what they are trying to do is get a little bit of heat into their tyres ahead of the race start. It's going to be a rolling start. What you'll see is that he will go around these 2 hairpins, and then at some point along the back straight he'll slow the carts down. Adam has already pulled up alongside him, and the 2 of them now proceed. They're 2 distinct lanes, and these drivers will continue around the final corner. They're crossing a red line, you'll see that right there. They've just crossed it, and from that point on, no overtaking until the start procedure is complete. As they make their way around, they're into the tram lines. The drivers cannot leave the tram lines until the lights go out. You can't see the start lights from there, but we've got the start taking place, and it's a good one, particularly from 3rd place. Benjamin Wade looked like he was sneaking up the inside, but he's had to get out of it. Maybe didn't want to come unstuck on the opening lap. Of course, it's a long race. As you just got to get through the first few corners, at least to be in it towards the end. Now, Christopher and Adam setting out into an early pairing in the lead, and Benjamin has Thomas right behind him here. Now, Benjamin in particular, with the championship in mind, will be looking not to let these 2 teammates ahead get away. And when I say teammates, the use of that word is extremely loose in the Rotax Max Challenge paddock. These drivers are undoubtedly racing as individuals. There are no team orders like we sometimes see in Formula One, or if there are orders given by the team, they are generally ignored. And that's exactly what we want to see. Drivers giving everything that they've got. And this is really good, because 4 drivers have got a way out of the front. And we have Christopher, Adam, Ben and Thomas right with them now. So we're using the national layout here. There's a number that can go. As we see Benjamin coming up the inside of Adam. That's a good move for position, and Adam might try to come back at him, but he doesn't make it stick. Now that's helped Christopher, and Thomas is threatening as well. Christopher not involved in that exchange, and he's just pulled away by a couple of cart lengths. So Benjamin, I think, has second place now as they make their way around the final corner to cross the line to complete lap 2. Benjamin indeed in second. Adam just about managing to keep Thomas behind him, and he circulates in third place. To Christopher in these early exchanges, with Adam and Thomas trying not to lose ground just behind them. Already at the end of 3 laps. Remember, we've got 14 of them to complete. And who's that in 5th place? It's Adam Jones, looking pretty racy. So the front 4 in the picture. You just see Adam at the bottom of your screen there, just about staying in contention. The rest of the field streaming through a little bit further down. No change to the race order then. Seen Adam just about keep in touch with the top 2, and Thomas is also trying to do the same. Round we come, 4 laps complete. I can tell you that the fastest lap of the race now goes to Adam Al-Azhari, fractionally quicker than the 2 drivers ahead of him. And they are absolutely bumper to bumper, heading round the tight exit to the bowl section before they turn sharp left and then head up the hill, trying to keep that momentum up. A double right-hander, which is effectively one long, very, very fast, open right-hander into very tight left-hand hairpin, and even tighter right hairpin. There we go, one of our mums on the screen, following the action closely, and one of the braver ones, because most of them are hiding under the stairs right now. And Adam goes for a move on Benjamin, and it looks like that came off. Christopher comes down the start-finish straight, and the other 2 side by side. Ben thinking about coming back up the inside, but deciding against it. And Adam on the charge then. We've seen Thomas. We could just see Thomas there, but he's just dropping back from these front 3 whilst managing to stay well clear of the rest. So Adam chasing down Christopher, electing not to have a look up the inside into the left-hand hairpin. Doesn't want to compromise his corner speed, with Benjamin lurking just behind them. They come onto the back straight once again. Lap time keeps coming down. This time Adam Al-Azhari quickest again from second place. You can see the gap between the top 3 drivers is visibly very, very close. I can tell you on the timing screens down the straight, that's 0.4 of a second only between them. 0.4. Adam breathing all over the back of Christopher's car. Benjamin just hanging around there as well. Here comes Adam, so pops out from behind the back, and just clips the curb there. That might compromise his exit. Indeed it does. Christopher calmly sees him coming, allows him to go up the inside. Oh, and another good move from Adam. That's really surprised Christopher there. He thought he got the job done, and opportunistic there from Adam Al-Azhari. Good driving between the front 3. Very aware, giving each other at the moment just enough room. We're half distance now, and it looks more and more like it's going to be between these 3 for the podium places. You can see Thomas in the background. He's doing his best. He's just not quite able to live with the pace of these front three right now. And but we've seen in the last couple of days racing, it's not over till they cross the line of the checkered flag, and sometimes decisions are made affecting the outcome of the race after the checkered flag falls. So Adam getting pressurised now by Christopher for the first time in the race. He crosses the line in first. And oh, what's happened there? We've had a bit of a problem as he, we've just seen Christopher slow right down. So well, hopefully for him, he's not got a technical issue, but Adam now released into the lead, and I think it's just a case of Christopher losing some momentum there. Ben possibly having to take evasive action. And while you can see they're quite close together, the gap has definitely opened up. This will benefit Adam for the next few laps at least. He's still got 5 and a bit to hang on if he's going to get maximum points. So here he comes. So that's been a very good lap for Adam compared to the 2 drivers around him. We see the change just updating in the timing screens, and Adam, just to add insult to injury, has set the fastest lap of the race on that lap. So just at the right time, Adam manages to get the hammer down, and he's got about 7/10 of a second in his pocket ahead of Benjamin and Christopher. Christopher now, you can see, really starting to think it's time to either help Ben get closer to Adam or just to just be 4 to go, and these laps are flying by at the front of the field. Okay, so we saw a bit of a slow exit of the final corner from second place. So was that Benjamin? Has it changed? No, Benjamin stays in front. I do apologise, Christopher has managed to get ahead of Benjamin. So that is the net result of that slow-moving car. There was just a little bit of a scrap for position. And again, this is going to play into Adam's hands. He's gone quicker again on that last lap. And for the first time, we've seen the gap increase to over a second. This hasn't really been the case all weekend. 48.1 from our race leader. He's doing everything right at just the right time. And we've got 3 laps to go at the end of this one. So just a bit of a mention for Thomas. He's clear on his own in 4th. Just a couple of seconds clear of Adam. Adam having a good day as well. He's in 5th place. Fahad Al-Rawah, he's had a great race. He's fought his way through to 6th and is narrowly ahead of Krishna on the last lap. Krishna, that's Tony Hogg's favourite Micromax driver. And just behind Krishna, we have Shivali, then Ahmed, then Evan and Eamon. Right, here we go. Christopher Al-Fagali released from behind Benjamin Wade, and now it's his turn to sit on top of the lap charts. A 48.102 is the fastest lap we've seen this race, and Benjamin at the moment staying with him, but Adam's got a healthy gap of just over a second. If he doesn't start getting too overwhelmed by what's going on behind him, he should be able to keep this advantage right the way to the flag. Precision again as he drives past the start-finish straight to complete lap number 12. All 3 of these drivers doing almost identical times now, and that's good news for Adam, who keeps his advantage at over a second as the laps whittle away. So we should be seeing the last lap board come out by my calculations. 12 laps completed. The leader's just going through the double hairpin section and into the back straight. So last lap board is going to be coming out now for Adam Al-Azhari. And we've seen such close racing. It's unusual to see such a gap between the front runners, but we're seeing it here. And Adam and his fans won't mind. If you're watching and you're supporting Adam, you could be about to see him claim maximum points. He's put himself in the box seat. The last lap, as you can see, being shown to all the drivers as they come past the line. And Adam winds his way up the hill for the final time competitively. Christopher has driven his heart out in the last couple of laps to try to get that gap down, and Benjamin again just doesn't quite have an answer for that pace at this stage of the race. And now there's just 1 corner to go. We just briefly switched to a great battle going on further down the order. Krishna, Fahad, Shivali all together, having a great fight between themselves, but there's nothing going to stop Adam Al-Azhari. We're waiting for him to cross the line. He'll be the next one through with the checkered flag waving, and he takes maximum points. Christopher takes second, Benjamin third. Those are our podium finishers. We're now going to see Thomas. He's had a great weekend and he'll finish just off the podium, crossing the line in fourth. Adams also performed exceptionally this weekend at his home track. Fifth place for him. And who is going to be sixth? Will it be Krishna? Will it be Fahad? Will it be Shivali? The three of them know each other very, very well. This is their local track. Who's it going to be? Fahad just ahead of Krishna and Shivali following them through. Great driving from those three. And just behind them, Ahmed, Evan and Eamon in that order, 9th, 10th and 11th. So we had a fight at the front. We had Thomas and Adam pretty comfortable. Then Fahad, Krishna and Shivali pushing themselves all the way to the line. And Ahmed, Evan and Eamon doing the same. And how about that? All of the drivers finishing on the lead lap. So it just shows you how close things have got. Great stuff from Micromax. We'll hopefully be able to catch up with a few of those drivers a little later on to get their viewpoint on the weekend. Next, it is our Junior Max category. So, Khaled Saab lining up on pole position, driver number 246. He's had a very strong weekend. He had some disappointment in the final yesterday, but he secured the win in the pre-final, and he'll be looking to optimise that starting position and gain maximum points here today. The driver that is going to stop him, apparently, is on his outside, Kamal Akka. Caught up right towards the end, and he was confident if he had a little bit longer, he would have unseated Khalid for the win. Georgie Swain and Anshul Gandhi, third and fourth. Remember Nadine Knissa, who lines up in fifth alongside Theo Kakati, said he had a great fight with Anshul in the pre-final. In the end, Anshul coming home a very respectable fourth place. And the juniors, unusually, they surprised everyone by not providing us with any controversy, stewards' decisions or penalties, to my knowledge. That normally goes out of the window in the final. So get ready and buckle up. So yeah, fighting talk from Kamal. We didn't have a chance to chat with Khalid earlier on. He was hiding from the cameras. But he's going to give his response to Kamal's opinion on the track right now. Georgie Swain, remember, he was trying to suggest that he's not doing well because his dad's not here. But with everything that came out of his mouth, it led us to believe that actually, yes, he is doing much better because his dad's not here. We'll see in the final. It's a very quick start, and oh dear, there's some erratic movement on the grid, and they need to really be a little bit careful. They're absolutely flying into the first corner, and they disappear down the hill. And let's see how things shake out after lap number one. This is an 18-lap race, 18 laps. So lots and lots of track time out there. I can hear the drivers. I'm not looking at the screens that you guys can see at home, but I can see them just coming out of the hairpin now from my position. And it's Khalid Saab holding on to an early lead. Georgie Swain looked like he waved Kamal Akka past him there. I'm not quite sure if that was the case or not, but Khalid's had a great start. We saw Georgie and we saw Kamal. Georgie might have waved Kamal through, but he's remained in second place. And it looks to me like Kamal holding on to third place. So a really good start from the juniors. But they've got to continue this on for 18 laps. So here we go then. A little bit quicker. You can see the rear just coming out, under braking, heavy braking for the left-hand hairpin after the very high speeds. But he's got a little bit of a cushion here after a very confident first few corners. Everyone else is just fighting for position and defending. And they've got to be careful because Khalid has absolutely been flying this weekend. He's shown huge pace. You can see there's a gap opened up already, and the other drivers need to actually think about working together to catch him up. And we see Kamal has answered his own call. He's got past Georgie and up to second place. They've all stopped out of just out of shot there, because Khalid just has that 1 second advantage. And we can see Kamal, Georgie, Nadim, Konstantin. Right, well, there's two side by side there. Is that Nadim, Konstantin, or Anshul? We'll have to see. At the moment the cameras are on the race leader, but actually we want to see the close stuff going on behind. I can see almost 3 abreast. Let's see if we can have a word with the producers until they catch up with Khalid. We want to really see what's going on back home. So we'll just see how those pictures come out. So Khalid then on his own, this has really worked out for him at the moment, and Kamal being forced still to defend. He can't think about making up that gap. He's got to think about, who's that, Georgie, and I think that's Konstantin in third and fourth. Georgie coming from a long way, sorry, Konstantin coming from a long way back up the inside of Georgie, and he makes that one stick, and Georgie coming back up against him. Oh, they've got to be careful there. Konstantin looking right and moving right erratically, and as they disappeared out of my view. Got to be careful here. Konstantin holds the position. So Kamal then has got a little bit of a gap now. He can just try to focus on catching up with Khalid, because Georgie and Konstantin we saw just having a little bit of a fight. So Khalid is the quickest driver on the track whilst leading, and with all that scrapping going on behind him, the gap has opened up to 1.8 seconds. Now Kamal starts to get his head down. A 43 from 0.7 for him. He crosses the line, 1.7 seconds behind Khalid. We can see Konstantin is clear now in third place, having passed Georgie. Theo's made good progress as well. He's now ahead of both Nadim and Anshul. Amirali also in the mix at the back of that in 8th position. And just behind them, Darshan, we spoke to him earlier on. He was talking about some incidents he'd had with Christian. And sadly, it looks like Ia says is no longer with us. She's, I think she lined up on the start, but I don't have a record of her completing a lap. So that's a shame. Maybe she's come out on the formation lap. So that's a bit disappointing. So Khalid continues to rocket around the circuit, but Kamal definitely with the bit between his teeth. Another personal best, and in fact best lap of the race from our second place runner Kamal. You can see Konstantin, Georgie and Theo just behind, and the gap now down to 1.5 seconds. We're on lap 7 of 18. So here they come, Khalid, Kamal, just pulling away from the rest. You can see the gap between the front two is starting to come down. And that time they were pretty much level pegging. And a new fastest lap of the race from Georgie Zwain. Again, affected by his father's absence, faster than everybody else at the moment. And putting the pressure on Konstantin Reich with Theo Kakati, just 0.6 of a second behind Georgie. Nadim Knissa, the same distance again behind Theo. And Anshul pressurising Nadim like he did earlier on in the pre-final. So again, Anshul just sort of going for a half move there, and it's really compromised both him and Nadim coming onto the back straight, and that is not going to help them move forwards towards Theo, Georgie and Konstantin. Right then, new fastest lap of the race for our race leader Khalid Saab, replaced by Kamal Agha. They're matching each other, and well, while that happens and the gap isn't dropping significantly, this could be a runaway victory, and we don't see this very often in juniors. But Khalid, of course, all of his work was done getting that pole position and then making sure he came out of the first couple of corners in the lead. Let everyone else fight it out between them. You can see they're covering the ground very, very quickly, ladies and gentlemen. But the gap staying at around about 1.5 seconds. A new fastest lap from Kamal. It's down to 1.3, so the gap is coming down, but they're half distance already. So Khalid and Kamal both driving very strongly indeed. Konstantin unable to live with that pace, but he's only 1/10 of a second off, and Georgie going with him, and Theo doing better than he's done all weekend, with Nadim still heading Anshul. The gap almost non-existent. Here comes Anshul again. It's that same half move which sees him just about sort of half come up the inside, and him and Nadim both lose momentum coming onto the straight. So there's no change again in those positions. So Khalid, Kamal, Konstantin, Georgie, Theo, Nadim, Anshul, then Amirali. The top 8 already across the line. Darshan is next, ahead of Christian. We heard Darshan talking earlier on about the close fight that they were having, and Darshan winning that battle at the moment, but there's still plenty of time left for Christian to fight back. Okay, Khalid followed by Kamal. There's been no change to the race order. The closest drivers together are Georgie in 4th, chasing Konstantin in 3rd. You can see the slipstream effect there as well. Georgie really coming on strong towards the end of the straight. Konstantin has been wise to it so far. Another fastest, oh no, it's not fastest lap this time, but it is slightly closer between the lead two. 1.2 seconds is the gap now. So Khalid, metronomic so far in this final, not putting a wheel wrong, and it's difficult to lead and go so quickly. You can see Kamal is just inching towards the race leader. He said he needed one more lap in the pre-final. He had 14 laps. He's going to have 18 laps to get the job done here. And the gap is down again. 43.3 plays 43.5. It's now 1.1 seconds, the gap between first and second. You can see visually what 1.1 seconds looks like as you see Khalid heading up the hill into the braking zone towards the left-hand hairpin. Frustratingly tight right-hand hairpin that Kamal negotiates just behind him, and on to the very powerful sweeping curve that takes you onto the back straight into the final corner of the lap. And here comes Khalid. Now what's the gap this time? Across he goes. This is lap 13. And again the gap comes down. It's now under a second. It's 0.9 of a second between the front two, and Georgie crosses the line having passed Konstantin. So Georgie Zuain up to 3rd position. Konstantin's not going to take that lying down. Theo Kakati about 1.5 seconds back from them, and Nadim right behind him as well. So Theo and Nadim locked in battle for 5th and 6th places. Oh, there we go then. So Khalid driving away at the front, but Kamal gradually closing him down. Georgie and Konstantin 3rd and 4th, and Theo now going defensive against Nadim. That gap looks to have come down again at the front, and it has fractionally. 0.86 seconds. I really enjoy looking at the parents at times like this. Got a good view of Kamal's mum down the end. She's been giving me a hard time all season. The thumbs are up there. Her boy's doing very well so far, and he's closing that gap down. It's where you've got the parents that pretend to like each other when their kids are racing. It's brilliant. So Khalid and Kamal, again that gap surely has come down. That time it was 0.8 of a second, it's now 0.7. Georgie still keeping ahead of Konstantin, but not pulling away. And Theo just keeping Nadim at bay, with Anshul knocking on the door. That's the fight for 5th place between those 3 drivers. Well, Kamal's had 15 laps. He said he needed one more than the pre-final. He's already had that. This is lap 16, and there'll be 2 more at the end of this that he's done very well. But Khalid as well, to resist that pressure, has been doing equally well. Across the line they go again. What's the gap this time? It's down to 0.6 of a second. 0.6 of a second with 2 laps remaining. Still Georgie from Constantine. Still Theo from Nadim from Anshul. Amirali now has just dropped back a little bit off that gap. And Darshan a few seconds further back as well, with Christian still trying to hunt him down. All the drivers on the lead lap with the exception of Ia, who, as we said, didn't actually register a single lap yet. So here we go. This is the last corner of lap 17. There will be 1 to go at the end of this. The last lap board is out. The gap is closer again. It's down to 0.4 of a second this time, and Nadim defending strongly and resolutely against Anshul, which has allowed Theo to retain 5th place for the time being. Khalid going up the hill. Kamal definitely closer than he has been before, but I don't think it was as close as he was on the last lap of the pre-final. But is Khalid going to go defensive and maybe succumb to the pressure? They're both into the final straight. This has been a fantastic drive. Georgie under pressure from Constantine as well. They all know it's the last lap. They're going to disappear out of my view. And here comes Constantine from quite far back. Surely Georgie's defended that. But Khalid takes 1st place ahead of Kamal. What a fantastic performance. And George, well, they've dropped back, but Georgie comes through in 3rd. Theo 4th. Nadim 5th. Anshul 6th. And Constantine in 7th. Well, we saw Konstantin Reich going up for a move at the final corner. That was for 3rd position, and he's come out in 7th. So that not coming off, perhaps 3rd place on the podium was that important. But what a race from Khalid Saab, coming back from the disappointment of yesterday's final and driving a faultless race to 1st place. 2nd position, Kamal Agha, having fought his way back into 2nd and reduced the deficit down and down and down until it was a mere 0.3 of a second at the line. And then Georgie Swain, I missed what happened at the final corner. Maybe some of you saw it. But Georgie somehow coming out of that final corner in 3rd place. Konstantin losing out with Theo 4th, Nadim 5th, Anshul 6th. Before Konstantin crossed the line in 7th. Amirali came home in 8th, Darshan 9th, Christian 10th. Again, all the drivers completing full race distance. And there'll be a few moments to draw breath before our Senior Max category get underway. So we're having some in-depth discussions about the Micromax start. That was 2 races ago. We remember Christopher and Adam on the front row. They were just showing me a replay of the live stream. And there's a slight delay before the Senior Max drivers go out due to a... Presumably then, that must have been Miss Ia, who was missing for most of the race. She has just been helped back to the technical area by the track team, and now we'll be able to continue the race program. So this is Senior Max. We say senior, there are still some relatively young drivers in there, as well as some older ones. And we can see Mr. Chow, as he's affectionately known, holding up the 1 minute board, changing it to the 30 seconds board. This is the quickest 30 seconds you'll ever see. And if we just think back to the pre-final, well, Lachlan Robinson beaten into second place by Hamda Al-Khabaisi. So had a lot of thinking adjustments and prep to do. Abdurrahman Frage was very strong in the pre-final as well, pushing Lachlan all the way to the line. And we had, I spoke to a few drivers in the break that we had before the finals, because I wasn't sure what happened. We had Vinay D'Souza running quite strongly earlier on. And he was a little bit unhappy with something that happened to him in the pre-final, although it was just off camera. And additionally, we saw Jacopo Mazza running very, very strongly. And I've learned that actually he suffered a technical failure, quite a massive failure, which took him out of contention and means that he has to start all the way at the back of the field. So a very slow, controlled start. Certainly a lot more controlled than we saw from the juniors. And away they go. They've got to give each other a little bit of room into the first corner. They don't always do that. And when it comes to long races like this, I really don't understand why. But no problems at the start this time as Hamda and Lachlan lead Abdulrahman up the hill. It's a blistering start, I think, from Dylan Olsen, who is in 4th place. And already, well, Lachlan not wasting any time in getting himself to the front, but he's got a very tight corner to make, and Hamda tries to go around the outside there after Lachlan was really slow, and Abdulrahman benefits from both of them. He gets past Hamda, he nearly gets past Lachlan as well, who defends. Well, it's a long race to start defending from there, but with Hamda's pace, you can see Lachlan driving a very defensive line down the main straight, and Hamda has got past Abdulrahman. He didn't really know whether to go left or right. Hamda then back into second place behind race leader Lachlan. Up the hill they go. Abdulrahman and Dylan right behind. One long train of carts, as you'd expect at this stage of the race. Again, Lachlan going very defensive. Hamda pulling out early. And Lachlan holding the inside line. Oh, that's good driving from Hamda. She's now side by side on the straight. Now, they need to not be driving into each other. That is not particularly good from either of them. They need to be allowing racing room. Senior officials spoke about that during the briefing, which you guys and girls sitting at home won't have heard. And we certainly, karting is supposed to be non-contact. They've got some protective bodywork around them. But obviously, high speeds, this can go very, very wrong. Anyway, Lachlan continues to defend. Hamda continues to attack in second place, and Abdulrahman continues as well. Oh dear, and this is, when they're driving like that, it was always going to end in disaster, and this is really not clever driving on either of their parts. Early stage of the race, they had enormous pace. They've got an opportunity to score lots of points, and Abdulrahman Frage comes across the line nodding, because he knows that the main protagonists have taken each other out of contention. So it's anybody's now, and Abdulrahman has certainly been in the box seat behind those front two today. Abdurrahman, Dylan, Jacopo, Dennis, Merbod, Oleg. So Abdurrahman with a healthy lead now. And Dylan somehow was holding second. Big long train of cars behind Abdurrahman there. Dylan doing a good job of holding up everyone else. And Jacopo, who started at the back, has benefited from Laughlin's defensive driving and then the incident. Oh dear, two more coming together. What are the senior Max drivers doing this time? They're all over each other and really damaging their chances of enjoying themselves for 18 laps of the final. Well, no problems like that for Abdurrahman. There's a thumbs up from his team. Dylan still holding second place ahead of Jacopo, then Oleg, Mohammed and Vinay have moved up. It looks like Dennis was involved with one of the other drivers on the previous lap, and Jacopo trying to have a sneaky look up the inside there of Dylan, I think it was. Now this is really played into Abdurrahman's hands, but he's got to take it. There we go. Just found himself in the right place at the right time and benefiting from the over-exuberance of the leaders. Neither one wanting to give an inch, and both of them ending up well down. So Oleg, it was Oleg actually making a move on Jacopo around the double right-hander, and Vinay D'Souza benefiting from that as well. He's moved through. Jacopo just dropping down from 3rd to 5th. So Abdurrahman with a healthy 2.9 second lead over Dylan Olsen. Here they come along the start finish again. And no change in the racing order there. So let's see about the let's see about the positions further back down the field. Up the hill then for Abdurrahman. He is really enjoying himself out there. Obviously the camera's on him, we can't see what's going on further down the field where all the action is. He's now 3.7 seconds clear of the rest of the field. Dylan, Oleg, Vinay and Jacopo very close together. Mohammed just behind them as well. Then Merbot and Hemel. Then another 6 or so seconds back, we've got Lachlan Robinson ahead of Hamda Al-Khabaisi. So Dennis, by the looks of things, ended up retiring after that incident at the left-hand hairpin. Oh, something seems to have come off the cart there by the looks of the TV screens coming down the main straight. I'm sure the senior officials will deal with that promptly. So we've got a yellow flag out, presumably in preparation for the item that came off the cart down the main straight. and this is a chain guard, so that is off one of the carts, and it's being rescued from the track by the chief scrutineer, Mr. George Robinson, one of the most highly respected figures within the area that he's in, about 1 metre squared. So that's bad news for one of these drivers, because if the senior officials spot that there's a chain guard off the car, they're going to be removed from the track. So, Abdulrahman Frage crossing the line once again. He's just completed lap number 12 of 18, 6 to go. And Dylan Olsen still managing to keep Oleg behind him. Jacopo has got past Vinay, those two close together as well, just behind the battle for the second and third podium spots. So there is a technical flag going out and a mechanical failure flag, and that is obviously for the driver that has lost their chain guard, sadly. And the reason for that is that without that guard, if the chain breaks or comes loose at some point and gets spat off and is fired at somebody, that really causes compromise. So that's disappointing there. Hemel, driver number 398, receiving the mechanical failure flag, and he'll need to return to the technical area. So, the last lap board is due, and in just a couple of laps, we're on lap 15, they're out of 18. Well, it's all going off just behind the race leader, but the cameras are only showing you Abdulrahman Frage at the front. There's about 4 or 5 drivers all together: Dylan, Oleg, Jacopo and Vinay. And we're not going to be able to see them. We're just looking at the race leader. It's coming up to the time where the last lap board is going to be shown. So what are the last lap board is out, Well, they're all a bit more spread apart this time, and it's Oleg Kazakov up to second place, and Vinay D'Souza up to third, Jacopo Mazza fourth, and Dylan yet to cross the line, so something's obviously... Oh no, he's crossed the line now, ahead of Mohammed. So there we go, into the last lap, and we're still seeing pictures of an untroubled Abdurrahman Frege. The checkered flag is out. Abdurrahman Frege is extremely happy with his first win this season in the senior max category, and Oleg Kazakov is even happier with second place. Vinay D'Souza makes third. Jacopo Mazza coming from the back, just missing out on a podium, finishing fourth. And you have to say Dylan Olsen's going to be very disappointed at losing his second place on the closing laps. He'd been running strongly in second since about lap 3. Well, sure there's going to be some ongoing discussions, but it isn't about first and second this time, although they did start first and second, but they finished well down. Lachlan Robinson and Hamda Al-Kubaisi. Sure the senior officials will be looking at the contentious things that transpired during the course of that race. But let's not take anything away from Abdurrahman Frege, keeping his nose clean and being in the right place at the right time. Textbook drive, winning by a massive 7 seconds. So a few minutes then, while we wait for the release of the DD2 category. Okay, so if we can have a paddock announcement. This is from the senior mats category. Can we have driver number 333, Mirbod, and number 369, Dennis, to see the stewards, please? 369, Dennis, and 333, Mirbod, please, to see the stewards. Oh, thanks for your patience, especially those of you at home with no audio. We're DD2 drivers patiently waiting on the grid for their signal to leave for their final 18 laps, just under 20 kilometres in the final race of the weekend for them. After DD2, we have Minimax, most of them patiently waiting in the background for their opportunity to get out there. And our last session of the day will be our Bambinos for their 4th time trial, taking place immediately after the last Max class final. So getting treated to some action now, the busiest category on the day, DD2, premier category, the Rotax Max genre of engines, twin speed paddle shifters, 34 horsepower, and Kyle Kumaran has been the man on form today, narrowly beaten into second place yesterday by Jacob Robinson, birthday boy that he is today, and Jacob chasing Kyle round today in second at the moment. Hugo is in third. We heard from him favouring his teammates in the Micromax category. And here we are. Kyle with a good start. Jacob doing well to keep the chasing back behind him at the beginning. Live timing to reappear on the screen in front of me as we watch Kyle Kumaran driving around the final corner of the lap with Jacob Robinson in hot pursuit. 4 laps completed. 4 laps complete then from our race leader and everyone then beyond him. Jacob Robinson, Hugo, still got Tony hot on his heels. Marcus Marker and Hussein Vidali 5th and 6th, Lucas up to 7th, Maurizio 8th, Gianluca 9th, Dario 10th, and Greg down in 11th. We didn't actually get Dan Jones back on track, and sadly we lost Salim Abdelatif with a bit of an injury in the pre-final, not taking to the grid this time. But Kyle Kumaran looking very, very good. Jacob Robinson setting his personal best lap. Lap number 5 and not as quick as the race leader. The gap sitting at 1 second now. Race leaders head up the hill. Great section of the Muscat Speedway track here. And then hard on the brakes. Four-wheel braking on these DD2 cars as they head into the tight, twisty, technical hairpin section. And away down the back straight. Well, we remind you, especially if you're just joining us, we've got all of the cars on track right now are built to the same specification, but there's 2 distinct classes. While all of them are racing for an overall DD2 championship, there is one separate category for Masters drivers, and those are drivers over the age of 32. And the way to distinguish between them is that the Masters drivers have race numbers over 500. So we see our leading Masters driver is actually 4th overall, despite being a little bit older than his contemporaries in front of him. And Tony Hogg, 4th place, and he's even in front of a couple of the regular light, younger drivers. So impressing here this weekend. Had a good day yesterday, continuing that today, and we're coming up towards half distance in the final of DD2. So it's a second between our top 2, then a further second back to Hugo in 3rd, behind Jacob Robinson, and Tony Hogg keeping Hugo on his toes. And just behind Tony, there's Marcus. Just behind Marcus is Hussein, another Masters driver. Lucas also tucked up behind him. So 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th, very, very close together, and only a second behind second place. Well, Kyle Kumaran absolutely rocking. 42.14 is the fastest lap of the race. That's his last lap, and too hot to handle for anybody else anyway at this stage of the race. The gap has increased to over a second now, and there we go as they come streaming through. A little bit of a gap there. Back to Maurizio, Gianluca and Dario. Three drivers whose colour schemes look very, very similar. They're part of the same race outfit, the Blueberry Racing Team, and they're all fighting each other. Maurizio in 8th, Gianluca 9th, Dario 10th for bragging rights within the team. They're a little bit off of the teams in front, maybe 5 seconds back from that fight for 3rd position. So that gap increasing again, and after a very successful performance from Jacob Robinson yesterday with, I think, maximum points, keeping Kyle Kumaran behind him. It's role reversal today, and Kyle has been setting the pace just. It's been very, very close, and right now leading by 1.5 seconds. So we're over half distance now. Lap number 10 complete. So we've got 1.7 seconds. Again, that gap increases. Kyle really, really consistent, very, very fast, and just able to squeeze away just by a fraction of a second every lap consistently as he gets double figures in the lap. So as we said, over half race distance. Jacob Robinson won't be too disappointed. He's still hanging around or thereabouts, but he does have to have one eye on the very rapid Hugo Gid, who's in 3rd place. The gap between those two is just under a second. So Kyle goes through, there's Jacob, there's Hugo, and Tony's just dropped off by 1.2 seconds from Hugo, and he's got Marcus, Hussein, and also Lucas bearing down on him. So Tony, Marcus, Hussein and Lucas locked in battle there for 4th, 5th, 6th and 7th. And we've still got the Blueberry Racing team drivers in 8th, 9th and 10th ahead of Greg Watt in 11th. Change in the positions. Only an extension of the lead, and also with a slightly quicker lap than Hugo. Jacob just reinforces his 2nd place. So you see Kyle already out of shot, then Jacob, Hugo, then Tony, Marcus, Hussein and Lucas all together, and then finally Maurizio, Dario and Gianluca is the last active fight going on, with Greg Watt just out of picture at the moment. Well, Hussein Umid Ali looking like he might fancy a sniff at Marcus Marker. He's got Tony Hogg, who he's racing against in the Masters. 2 drivers ahead. He's within touching distance, but Marcus in between. And at the moment, Tony keeping both Marcus and Hussein, as well as Lucas behind him. 14 laps complete now. The gap at the lead for the leader up to 2 seconds, and we've got less than 4 laps to go. Here comes Kyle Kumaran out of the hairpin. Jacob and Hugo following suit, but a decent number of kart lengths between them. And then we see what's shaping up to be a fight to the flag. Tony, Marcus, Hussein and Lucas. Only 3 to go then. These laps going by very, very quickly indeed. Just over 40 seconds to get round this kilometre. And Dario has got past Gianluca for 9th place. So Maurizio now next on Dario's agenda, if he can keep Gianluca behind him. There comes Greg, coming around to complete the same 15th lap. And hopefully he'll be able to get the full race distance in. But Kyle has been absolutely rapid and very consistent. It's another fastest lap of the race with 2 laps to go. So the last lap board will come out for Kyle next time round. So can Hussein do anything about Marcus? We're about to see Tony, Marcus, Hussein, Lucas, all 4 together, but just not able to, or maybe a little bit nervous to do it for fear of not finishing. It would be a shame having completed this much of the race. There's still a decent number of points on offer, and the last lap board is out. It looks like Gianluca has moved back ahead of Dario somewhere around the lap, so they're having a good old fight for 8th, 9th and 10th. And Greg Watt, we could just see him heading towards the final corner for the penultimate time. He will complete full race distance, barring any technical dramas. Well, it hasn't been as fast and frantic as we've seen from DD2 yet, but Marcus Marker lining up Tony Hogg here for a move at the last lap. The checker flag already out for Kyle Kumaran. Jacob Robinson takes 2nd place, and Hugo ecstatic with 3rd. Well, who's going to be 4th? Marcus pushing Tony all the way to the line, but Tony secures 4th place by just 0.05 of a second by the looks of things. Hussein and Lucas crossing the line 6th and 7th just behind them, and then a bit of a gap. It's Gianluca that holds out over Dario, and both of them cross the line just behind Maurizio. Greg Watt will be the last of the drivers to cross the line. Well done to him as well, completing full race distance. Mini-Max will follow this one in just a few minutes, and then the last track action of the day, we'll see our Bambinos out there for the final time this weekend. All right, so we've got some more track action, a quick turnaround after DD2. Most of them were very well behaved, which we appreciate. Bit of a shout out to Mr. Darrell Smith. Darrell Smith, if you can hear this announcement, could you please make yourself available to the stewards immediately after this race? Thank you. So Mini-Max category, well, a little bit unpredictable sometimes. Most of the time there's 5 or 6 all together on the circuit, and we saw the pace setters in the pre-final, William Wade and Zach Schooler, with Alex Renner and Harry Hannum just behind. Into the first corner, then we go. Again, their longest race of the day, but slightly less than the senior races we've just seen. 16 laps of the national circuit here at Muscat Speedway. And we see a good start from Alex Renner. He was starting from the inside of row 2, and often a lot better to start from the inside than the outside, and so it has proven. Zach getting caught out a little bit. Looks like a rapid start from Danny Shields. I didn't see the number, but recognise that green helmet, and he's up to 3rd place. And another competent and confident and assured start from William, who ends up completing lap 1 with quite a healthy lead in his pocket. We said Alex and Danny, 2nd and 3rd, having started further down the grid, and Harry stuck behind Zach there. Both of them will be anxious not to let the front runners get away. So William, you see, on his own there as Alex tries to keep Danny behind him. I think Danny at this stage will be just content to work with Alex to try and reduce that deficit to the leader. As we've seen, Williams had considerable pace all weekend. At least they want to make life difficult for him. All right. So round we go again. No change in the order. William, Alex, Danny, Zach and Harry, with Zaid only a 2.5 seconds off of Harry, and Alicia following in 7th position. Well, William continues in much the same way as he started the pre-final. Danny still tucked up behind Alex, 2nd and 3rd there. You can see they're working together, and Zach starting to gain some ground on them. He's now right up with them. Harry just in contention. Zaid just starting to fall off the back of that pack. And Alicia also, but they are still in there. So Zach having caught Danny, that's a very late move on the brakes. And looks like he overshot the corner a little bit. Can Danny get back on terms? Yes, he can. Oh, there's a bit of weaving across the track, but again, they're slowing each other down. Look up the road, guys. They're getting away from you. And these are young drivers from sort of 10, 11, 12, 13 years of age, still with a lot of experience. It's a long race. Know that they don't want to be fighting for 3rd and 4th. Work together, make up the gap and settle things. At least you've got a chance of finishing on the podium. But William has got something to say about that right now. Away and clear, and the gap hovering around a 2nd. It was just under last time round to Alex in 2nd place. And Danny being made to work hard for his 3rd place, but in doing so, move at the first corner. It's just, that's just a bit out of shot, but Harry had lost out a little bit. Here we see William coming up the hill. Unfortunately, we can't see what's going on in 3rd place from here. Maybe the camera will hover long enough. Yeah, it's Zach now ahead of Danny, and Harry giving chase. There's Zaid just coming through, and around that left-hand hairpin, and Alicia, our final driver through. Well, this is an unusual one. We've had 2 absolutely identical fastest laps of the race to the nearest 1,000th of a second, 46.220, and both of the drivers are Zach Schooler and William Wade, but no fastest laps on the last lap. 6 complete, up the hill again for William. Alex is around about the same pace, that gap sticking at around about 1 second. Zach and Danny absolutely together. but they are another 1.8 seconds behind Alex. You can see them just going out of shot there. And Harry trying not to let him get away. He's doesn't look like it, but he's actually a second behind Danny as it stood at the end of the last lap. So William, Alex with his head down, trying to reduce the deficit to the leaders. Well, all working out wonderfully for William. They started to come back at him in the pre-final, but nobody working together here. And apart from Harry and Danny together, Zach's just dropped them a little bit. And Zach himself trying to catch up with Alex. But all of those drivers have got some work to do if they're going to catch William. And it's not looking good for them right now. William already at half race distance. 8 laps complete, 8 to go. And Harry again, just disappearing out of shot, but has he managed to get past Danny Shields? We're still focusing on our race leader. William, Alex in second place. Yes, that's confirmation. The body kit's different, so Zach's still in third, but Harry has moved past Danny and into fourth place. And with that, setting the fastest lap of the race, 46.0. Obviously with a little bit of assistance from a slipstream provided by Danny there, but it just goes to show if you work together, you can get the times in. Well, he's been on his own since pretty much the start signal, and William Wade going quicker than he ever has before with a 46.003. So he continues to pull away from the chasing pack, and it's looking like the podium steps have already been written. I'm sure there's a few people that will have something to say about that, but they're going to have to do. They're talking on the track at the moment. William not looking at all like he can be caught for the race win. Well, Zach continues to try to close the gap on Alex, but they're both pretty evenly matched with times. And now we only have 6 laps remaining. Through they go again, and you can see that Zach is getting closer to Alex, but looks like William is just pulling further and further away from both of them. And Harry's trying his best to close up. He's matching the lap times of Zach and William. Alex going to maybe be coming under some pressure in the closing laps, but William, another lap complete. Well, Zach definitely is closer this time, and he's helped by the fact, and here he goes, selling one up the inside of Alex, who did not defend at all, perhaps wasn't expecting it. Zach set himself up for that with the fastest lap of the race, and he's the first of our drivers to dip underneath 46 seconds. It's a 45.994 from him, and I think he's just about managing to stay clear of Alex. as he comes out of the final corner. They're about to find out. Here they go. Yeah, Zach up to second place. So Alex, can Alex do anything about that? Harry as well, just starting to home in. So Alex now with the benefit of having a little bit of slipstream from Zach. Roll reversal to the previous lap. Can he make use of it? He's definitely all right on Zach's bumper, and Zach getting his head down, but Alex in the tow. No, not attempting a move on the final corner this time around. He's going to run out of time soon. 2 laps left. So away and up the hill, and this is not the race leader, this is second, third and fourth. There we see a dominant William Wade just disappearing out of the shot, and Alex now is thinking about defending against Harry, and that is going to work in Zach's favour, because he is left to focus on his own fight while Alex tries to keep Harry from overtaking him for the final podium spot. So away and clear, William. Production team doing a good job. Sorry, I know William maybe deserves a bit more airtime, but there's nothing going on around him, and there's a little bit of weaving going on. Harry doing his best to try and find a way past Alex, and that will mean that Zach pulls away a little bit more. So we're on the final lap. We've got Zayed just coming through. We can see how much they've slowed each other down. Alex is still keeping Harry behind him, and Zach is well and truly clear now. So it's a fight for third. No one can argue with the efforts of our race leader and race winner. The checkered flag out to confirm William Wade as the Minimax final winner. Zach Scola coming through to second place, and Harry unable to get past a defensive Alex Renner, who retains the final podium spot. And Danny Shields coming through in 5th position. Another 2 drivers finishing on the lead lap are Zaid and Alicia, yet to cross the line. Here comes Zaid now, and Alicia just about to round the final corner to complete 16 laps. So a very impressive and controlled race from the front by William Wade, perhaps helped by some exchanges in the early stages from the drivers behind, just slowing themselves down. And I'm pleased to say that William, his dad hasn't spoken to him all weekend, but now he's won, he's going to be number 1 son again. Just a shout out to Mr. Darryl Smith, if he could make his way to the stewards room, please. Darryl Smith. All right, bit of silence and turn my back for 5 seconds already. The Bambinos anxious to get out on the circuit for their last time trial of the day. So we saw them a little bit earlier. These drivers have whizzed round all weekend. They've had 4 time trials today, 4 as well yesterday in a separate event. And these guys, they are all guys, are aiming to get round quicker than everybody else. If they manage it, then there's going to be maximum points on offer, as long as they don't compromise themselves with any driving infractions. So with just a few minutes left, 4 minutes left on this session, Chanel Kunimal, best of everyone once again, but look at the performance from Zach Sowerby. He's within 0.4 of a second, and Adam Awan just 0.6 of a second off the quickest time. Leonidas just over a second off. So there's plenty of time for them to improve. And Leonidas now is behind Zach, who's been going very quickly. If he can use Zach and follow him, he may be able to improve dramatically as well in these closing stages. So, ladies and gentlemen, just to give you a little bit of information, we're just deliberating at the moment with the senior officials the results of the senior max category. In particular, this does affect the podium, hence why we have not gone ahead with the podium presentation yet. So continue with your packing away. We're going to aim to clear this up in the next 10 to 15 minutes and go ahead with the awards presentation at 4:30. 4:30. Okay, thank you for your patience. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just after the final result sheets and we'll be with you at the podium in just a moment. Can we have 316 Dylan Olsen to just quickly pop up to the stewards, please? And don't worry, we will be proceeding right now. 316 Dylan Olsen to the stewards. Thank you. All right then, so there are some deliberations ongoing, but we're going to go ahead with the Provisional Awards. I know some of you are anxious to get away for various flights and things back. So we're going to begin our awards presentation with the Bambino category. So apologies for the delay, everybody. All right, come on, you've been waiting patiently, haven't you? Thank you very much for your patience. We're going to go with the, in age order, youngsters first. Remember, this is live streamed, yeah, out to the world, so make sure you've done your makeup. And we're going to start with, first of all, an introduction of our guest who's going to be presenting the trophies. Please show him some acknowledgement, and that's Mr. Anwar Al-Zajali, here representing Oman Automobile Association. So Anwar's just going to get onto the podium now, and we're going to be going with Bambinos. Now this Bambino time trial is the results, the aggregate results of all of the points today, and it was very, very close. I think closer than any Bambino event. Okay, hang on a second.
Okay. What?
Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll be a little bit quiet so we can give the right level of attention to our trophy winners, yeah? And we're going to start with Bambino. So on 70 points was driver number 10, Leonidas Peruzzi. Congratulations, Leonidas. There he goes, making his way up onto the stage. So well done, Leonidas. And just 1 point ahead of Leonidas at the end, there was Zach Sowerby, third place. Just 1 point between those two drivers, so close. And even second and first, not too much further ahead. And how close was this? In second today on 76 points, Mr. Adam Awan. And our race, or our event winner in the Bambino category on 79 points, Mr. Shonal Kunimal. Well done to our Bambinos. That's it. Hands up in the air. Congratulations. Okay, boys, you can step down very carefully, and we'll be inviting you back a little later on to join all our trophy winners. Right, in Micromax, so we're going up in the age categories. The top three in reverse order. Third place, Benjamin Wade. You're focusing on me, but this guy's over here. He's really, really important. There we are. He's the guy that needs to be streamed across the universe. Then in second position, really close between the top three, just 2 seconds for the runner-up today, Christopher El Fagali, all the way from Lebanon. Started on pole, so close. Just beaten into second place today. In the end, our final winner in the Micromax category, Mr. Adam Al-Azari. Well done, gentlemen. Now, these three were some distance away at the front, and we do have a Novice Award winner. We invited him up here yesterday. He had a bit of an interview with us earlier on. Evan Clyde, our best novice. Come up, Evan. And then, guys, if you get onto the top spot, you know the drill by now. You join Adam on position number 1. Is Evan around, or is he left? Maybe not here anymore. So we just get the top 3 involved with Mr. Anwar. Excellent stuff. Great effort and great performance from those 3. Okay, next stage category. They're one of the last events on the track. Hannum for the final podium spot. Those 2 separated across the line by just 0.08 of a second. In second position, having fought his way through the field, and by the time he got through, not able to challenge for the win, Zach Schooler, runner-up. The only driver to get a lap time underneath 46 seconds, a 45.994 in his pursuit of that podium finish. And what a performance. You can jump up there on second, Zach. And what a performance from our race winner, leading from start to finish, untroubled, William Wade. Is P1. No novice drivers in Minimax. They're all consummate professionals. Onto the top spot, please, guys. Well done, boys. Some nice beaming smiles. You can hop yourselves down from there. Junior Max, well, congratulations to the Junior Max drivers. I think this is the first time I've ever had a final printout in front of me with no penalty decisions on it. And absolutely fantastic driving. Everyone that managed to start did the full race distance. And we had third place in the end, Georgie Zwain. His second day in a row on the podium. We had him interviewed earlier on. His dad's not here for the first time, and he said he's performed better than ever, and it's nothing to do with the fact that his father's absent. What a son. Well done, Georgie. And how about the top 2? Well, try as he might, he couldn't quite unsettle our pole sitter, but coming through fantastically well with the fastest lap of the race. Kamal Akko is our runner-up. A 43.322 was the best lap time out there in the junior category. And, well, he had a very entertaining interview where he threw the gauntlet down to our race winner. I thought he might be able to get him. It was close, but in the end, settling for second. But a very good weekend for Kamal. Well, this chap didn't put a wheel wrong all day. He had some disappointment yesterday in the final, but what a finish today. Khaled Saab is our Junior Max winner at round 6 of the UAE Rotax Max Challenge. A calm, unflustered drive from pole position, coming under pressure near the end, but holding out for a fantastic victory. can I presume that if Evan's gone, there is no Christian? Is Christian Clyde here? So no Novice Award then this time. Thank you very much. Right, on to the Senior Max final. And finishing across the line in third place. I think this is the first time on the podium at the Rotax Max Challenge, Mr. Vinay D'Souza. Fantastic progress from Vinay, and coming through to take third in a hotly contested finale right near the end. Lots of arms being thrown up in the air, but not from him. Third place today. Finishing just ahead of him in second position, coming through to the runners-up spot, Mr. Oleg Kazakov. And in the final reckoning, coming through to take a jubilant victory at the end of 18 laps, our max race winner was Abdurrahman Frage. Abdurrahman, we'd like you to just stay behind afterwards for a quick interview, please. So just come and see me after the podium presentation. Vinay, you can afford to be happy, you know? Okay, jump onto the top spot, guys. And just stay there, because we do have... Is Hemel here? Hemel, yeah, brilliant. So we do have a Novice Award winner here. It's Hemel. Put your hands together for him. You can join our top three on the Max podium. Great to have a few new faces on the grid this weekend. They've been a welcome addition to the championship. Excellent. Thank you very much, Max drivers. Okay, so we had a bit of a shocker in the pre-final, didn't we, with Salim not making it to the end, and he was treated. He didn't take part in the final. Hopefully he should be okay, but we move on to DD2 Masters ahead of him in third place in the Masters category, and that's 8th position overall. Maurizio Colombo keeping his teammates at bay for the entire race, and he's just sneaking up the far side there to take the third place trophy. Well done, Maurizio. In second position in the Masters category and finishing 6th overall, Hussein Umid Ali. And extending his narrow championship lead at the end of round 6, winning the Masters category and getting in amongst the youngsters. First overall in class, Tony Hogg. Fantastic. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. And our DD2 overall podium in third position, absolutely rapid at the front, all in the low 42s. Third place today, Hugo Gide. In second position, our winner from yesterday, but the best he could do today was second, Jacob Robinson. Also his 18th birthday today, I understand. Congratulations to Jacob, many happy returns. And then our race winner, well, he looked disappointed to finish second yesterday, but he's turned the tables today. Our race winner, Kyle Kumaran, a dominant display on the national circuit, and up he goes to collect his first place trophy. Congratulations to the three of them. Again, faultless drives this weekend. Very little niggles and some deserving trophy winners. You guys will stay up there. We will now invite our returning trophy winners to join them on the podium, please. Remember the rules. Little, pretty, cute ones at the front. Ugly, tall, fat ones at the back. Put your hands together for our trophy winners, everybody. If you've not got your hands raised, taking pictures of them, congratulations. Well done. Breathe in, Hussein. Just kidding. All right, ladies and gentlemen, sorry for the delays. We would just have Maurizio. Maurizio, can you just stay here for an interview as well, please? Just a couple of things to tell you about. First of all, a big thank you to Muscat Speedway and Oman Automobile Association for being so hospitable this week, as they always are. Always a highlight on the calendar. I hope you've had a nice, relaxing time. Great to see so many supporters from Oman. Stop pestering me. So many supporters from Oman here and taking part in the activities as well, the on-track stuff. That was great. We have 2 more rounds of the championship left, both back in the UAE. There may be some exciting news on that coming soon. Stay tuned. In the meantime, please have a safe journey back wherever you've come from. And we look forward to seeing you again very, very soon on a track near here. Take care and good night.